I'm recording this video in 2020, and needless to say, it's been an interesting year. When I was trying to think of a design for my next leather project, there was nothing else that came to mind quite as quickly as the need for a plague doctor mask. As you can see here, I've already found a template and cut out all my individual pieces of leather. I'm going to make a couple modifications along the way. But first things first, let's get these under dye. The color I chose for this project is oxblood. And while I was a little hesitant at first, the color turned out absolutely fantastic. Working with straps, I also had to dye the flesh side of the leather, which can take up a lot of dye. So this is the first time I'm going to be using an airbrush. And using the airbrush made short work of dyeing the flesh side of that leather. I didn't use nearly as much dye as if I would have tried to rub that on by hand. I did the rest of the straps the same way, and I can tell you this much. The only way I'm dyeing things from now on is with an airbrush. All of our pieces are cut out and dyed, and I've attached some of the hardware. I went with black rivets, and the rest of the hardware will be black as well. I think the black really pops against this oxblood color. Let's keep moving on. These are the main panels of the project. Let's go ahead and get some of these stitched together. I decided to use a black thread to accentuate the black hardware that I'm using. I used a basic saddle stitch along the edges and then did a crisscross pattern stitch right down the bridge. Things seem to be coming together fairly nicely. Take a look at the other side here. And there we go. There are some small white marks here along the stitch line where the raw leather is showing through. That's kind of one of the hazards that comes along with dyeing a project before you stitch it. But I've got a special tip for that I'm going to share in a different video. Here I've attached the top cap of the mask. Very simple stitch line, again, saddle stitch right across the bridge. Now all I have to do is stitch along the sides. None of this stitch line was pre-marked around the eyes. I had to cut out the eye cover pieces first and line them up and then use an awl to mark that stitch line there. So the next step is to sew these eye pieces on, and I have small plexiglass discs that I'll be sandwiching between the leather. I'm not sure if my explanation in the last section of the video made any sense, but there it is. It's all finished up. All the eye pieces are sewn on, and as you can see, I've got a nice piece of plexiglass right there to kind of form goggle-style eye holes. Other than that, the project's done. I just got to go ahead and put the buckles on, finish up the straps. I'm going to modify those to make them a little bit longer, and then how about a couple pictures to show you how this thing turned out. Personally, I think I'm ready for the rest of 2020, and maybe anything else that the future's going to throw at us. If you enjoyed this video, you know I'd appreciate that thumbs up like. Follow us on Instagram, and you may have seen this mask before we made this video. And maybe, just maybe, I'll see you on the next video. If you enjoy videos about the randomness of our amazing world, consider clicking on the globe to subscribe. Or maybe checking out one of the other videos right here.